Once upon a time, in a small village nestled by the edge of a dense forest, there lived a humble woodcutter named Ananda. Every day, Ananda would rise with the sun, taking his axe to the forest to chop wood. It was a simple life, but it was all he knew. He would sell the wood in the village market, earning just enough to survive. One day, as he was deep in the forest, a mysterious monk appeared, sitting under a tall tree. The monk's presence was serene, his gaze calm and knowing. He watched Ananda as he chopped the wood with all his might. After observing for a while, the monk spoke. "Why do you only cut this ordinary wood, Ananda? If you go deeper into the forest, you will find sandalwood, much more precious and fragrant than the wood you are cutting now." Ananda stopped and looked at the monk in confusion. Sandalwood? He had never thought of going further into the forest. But the monk's words lingered in his mind, and the next day, he ventured further. As Ananda walked deeper into the woods, he began to notice the scent of sandalwood in the air. Before long, he found a grove of sandalwood trees. Overjoyed, he began chopping and gathering this fragrant wood, which fetched a much higher price at the market. He was pleased, thinking his troubles were over. But one day, the monk returned, again watching him from a distance. "Ananda," the monk said, "why stop at sandalwood? If you travel even further into the forest, you will find silver rods buried deep in the earth. They are far more valuable than sandalwood." Ananda hesitated. He had just become comfortable with the sandalwood trade, but the thought of silver was tempting. After all, it was worth so much more. And so, the following day, he ventured further into the forest. This time, Ananda walked for hours through the dense trees and thick undergrowth until he came across a glimmering patch of earth. He dug with his hands and, to his amazement, pulled out long, shining rods of silver. The monk had been right again. Overcome with excitement, Ananda gathered as many silver rods as he could carry and returned to the village. His life improved greatly. He built a bigger house, bought finer clothes, and began living with more comfort than ever before. But then, one morning, as he was working with the silver rods, the monk appeared again, smiling kindly. "Ananda," the monk said softly, "silver is precious, but there is something even more valuable. Beyond this point in the forest lies a hidden vein of gold. If you continue forward, you will find it." Ananda was stunned. Gold? He could hardly imagine it. The wealth of silver had already changed his life, but gold, that would make him truly rich. Driven by the monk's words, Ananda set off once again, pushing even further into the forest. The terrain was rougher, the journey harder, but he was determined. After days of searching, Ananda found it. The glowing gleam of gold in the earth. His heart leaped with joy. He gathered as much gold as he could carry, rushing back to the village. With this wealth, he no longer had to work as a woodcutter. He became known as the richest man in the village, respected and admired by all. Ananda was sure that his journey was complete. But as always, the monk returned. "Ananda," the monk said gently, "you have found great wealth. But what if I told you there is something even more valuable than gold? Deep in the heart of the forest, far beyond where you've been, lies a hidden mine of diamonds. These diamonds are priceless. If you dare to go further, you will find riches beyond your wildest dreams." Ananda hesitated. He already had more gold than he could spend in a lifetime. But the idea of diamonds, that was something else entirely. He decided to make one final journey. Leaving everything behind, he ventured into the deepest, most mysterious part of the forest. The journey was dangerous and exhausting. Days turned into weeks, and there were moments when Ananda doubted himself. But then, at last, he found it. A sparkling diamond mine hidden in the depths of the earth. Ananda was overwhelmed. The monk had been right every time, and now he had discovered the greatest treasure of all. As Ananda sat in awe of the diamonds, The monk appeared beside him one final time. "Now, Ananda," the monk said, "you have traveled far, and you have found the most precious treasures of the forest. But tell me, has all of this wealth brought you peace?" Ananda paused. He had sandalwood, silver, gold, and now diamonds. But he realized something. Despite all these treasures, his heart was not truly at peace. He had been chasing after one thing after another, yet he still felt empty inside. The monk smiled knowingly. "You see, Ananda, true wealth is not found in the things we possess, but in the contentment of our heart. You have sought treasure outside yourself, but the greatest treasure of all lies within. It is the diamond of wisdom, the gold of kindness, the silver of compassion, and the sandalwood of peace." Ananda looked at the monk in awe, realizing the truth of his words. He had been so focused on material riches that he had forgotten the most important treasure, inner peace. So what do we learn from this story? From that day on, Ananda gave up his quest for wealth. He returned to his village and lived a simple life, practicing kindness and compassion toward others. He no longer sought riches, for he had found the greatest treasure of all within himself. And so the lesson of Buddha's teachings is clear. True happiness and contentment cannot be found in the external world. It is only by going deeper within ourselves, like Ananda's journey through the forest, that we discover the priceless treasures of wisdom, compassion, and inner peace.